U.S. airstrikes in Somalia, why Africa faces endless conflicts and how to end them. The U.S. military recently carried out precision airstrikes in Somalia, successfully eliminating a senior ISIS attack planner and several militants. This operation, conducted in coordination with the Somali government and U.S. Africa Command (AFRICOM), was part of an ongoing campaign to weaken terrorist networks operating in Africa. U.S. officials emphasized that no civilian casualties were reported, and the strike was a necessary action to prevent future attacks. While this operation marks a tactical success, it raises a much larger question. Why is Africa constantly embroiled in conflict, and what can be done to bring lasting peace? From terrorist insurgencies to civil wars and foreign military interventions, Africa has long been a battleground. The real issue isn't just about eliminating militants, it's about addressing the underlying causes of instability across the continent. Why so much conflict in Africa? Africa has witnessed decades of warfare, with conflicts fueled by a combination of terrorism, ethnic divisions, economic struggles, and foreign interests. Several key factors contribute to the continuous violence. 1. Terrorist networks and extremism. Groups like ISIS, Al-Shabaab, and Boko Haram exploit weak governments and lawless regions to establish their influence. These organizations thrive by recruiting marginalized youth, using religious ideology, poverty, and fear to build their armies. 2. Resource wars and foreign interests. Africa is rich in natural resources, including oil, diamonds, gold, and rare minerals used in technology. Many conflicts, such as those in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, Sudan, and Libya, are fueled by competing factions fighting for control of these valuable resources. 3. Weak governance and corruption. Many African governments struggle with corruption, weak institutions, and lack of public trust. Armed groups exploit these weaknesses to gain power, overthrow regimes, and fuel unrest. 4. Foreign military interventions. The US, France, Russia, and China all have military or economic stakes in Africa. While foreign powers often justify interventions as peacekeeping or anti-terrorism operations, these actions sometimes exacerbate conflicts rather than solve them. For example, the US and France have conducted airstrikes and counter-terrorism missions in Somalia, Mali, and Niger, but terrorist groups continue to grow. Why? Because killing militants doesn't solve the root problems: poverty, lack of education, and government failures. What are the options to end Africa's crises? To achieve lasting peace, Africa needs strategic, long-term solutions rather than just military action. Here are 4 key approaches to resolving the continent's conflicts. Invest in education and economic development. Terrorism and war thrive in regions where people feel hopeless. If governments and global partners invest in education, job creation, and infrastructure, fewer people will turn to violence as a way of survival. Stronger regional cooperation. African nations must take the lead in their own security. Groups like the African Union, AU, and regional coalitions should strengthen their ability to respond to conflicts without over-relying on Western militaries. Tackling corruption and strengthening institutions. Many African conflicts are fueled by political corruption. Leaders must commit to transparent governance, fair elections, and accountability, so armed groups lose their appeal as an alternative. Peace negotiations over military force. While military action is sometimes necessary, Africa's conflicts need more diplomatic solutions. Governments should engage in peace talks, community reconciliation programs, and political reforms to address the root causes of conflict. For example, in Rwanda, the genocide of 1994 was followed by years of peace-building efforts that prioritized economic growth, education, and national unity, proving that recovery is possible when political will exists. The future of Africa, a path to stability or endless war. The U.S. airstrikes in Somalia are part of a larger global effort to combat terrorism in Africa, but they do not address the core issues causing conflicts. If leaders fail to take action on governance, economic opportunities, and diplomacy, Africa may remain locked in cycles of war and instability. The real solution lies in African-led initiatives, where governments, businesses, and citizens work together to build a peaceful, prosperous continent. The choice is clear: invest in Africa's future, or watch conflicts continue for generations to come. What do you think? Is military intervention the right solution, or should Africa focus more on economic and political reforms? Share your thoughts in the comments. Stay updated on global news by subscribing to my YouTube channel for in-depth reports and following me on TikTok for quick updates.